Hey guys, my name is Matumio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for the day comes from Kenny, and it is, with the advent of 64 and 128 ticket servers, will DICE change the guns back to the old 25 damage per shot model that we had many months ago, since the netcode has been improved significantly? I never even thought of this, because you're absolutely right. A long time ago, basically when Battlefield 4 first released, guns actually hit harder. Instead of requiring 5 rounds to take someone out up close, it required only 4. DICE's justification for doing it was that it was a huge band-aid fix for all of the problems with the netcode that we've been experiencing since the very beginning of the game. Essentially, they wanted to slow down the combat because the netcode just wasn't up to snuff. It just wasn't up to the standards that they were hoping for, and so they'd reduce the damage so that you could actually react to firefights in close encounter combat. But now, because they've made significant improvements over this last couple of months, over this last year, they're bringing in 64-player tick rate. We don't know for sure if the 128 tick servers are going live. I think everything is still in testing, but if all of this does go live, it is going to be a significant improvement to the game. And so with that said, now that everything has been actually fixed, it's not just a band-aid over the problem, they actually gone to the root of the issue, will they go back to the 25 damage model for every single one of your bullets in close encounter combat? My gut is telling me that they won't do this. First of all, a lot of people have just gotten adjusted to the new system, but I also don't think that there's a lot of people that really care at this point, because while originally a lot of people were upset because yes, it was a band-aid, yes, it was a huge deviation from what we were used to, requiring 1 extra bullet is a significant difference, but now that we've had time to get used to the new system, a vast majority of the Battlefield community, I think, has been on board with the change. One large argument is that it has increased the skill gap a little bit. If you're the better player, you're way more likely to come out of firefights alive if you have that awesome accuracy. Because it requires 1 extra bullet, you have to maintain that accuracy for a split second longer, and so if you are the person who can maintain that accuracy, then you're going to come out of a firefight alive more frequently. It also just allows you to live longer, adapt to the situation. If you're getting shot at, you know that you're getting shot at, and you know that you can maybe duck behind cover and react to the situation. And so while I'm right there with you, DICE over this last year have made significant improvements for the netcode, and they could probably revert back that damage model, which was just a band-aid because of the netcode related problems. I just don't see them going through with it. First of all, it'd be another huge change that the Battlefield community would have to get adjusted to. I think a lot of people have just gotten adjusted to the new system, and so it's for those 2 reasons why I just don't see DICE going through with it. I love talking about this type of stuff because I never even considered it. I never even thought that they would revert it back, but I have a hard time seeing them actually following through with something like this. Solid question though. The next one comes from Tom, and it is, what's your opinion on having a 2-man mortar in the next Battlefield title? The way it would work is that one player would be reloading and firing the mortar, and the other would have the map telling the other where to locate the shots. It would be placed down on the battlefield like a 50 cal, and the difference from the gadget mortar is that it could have a larger blast radius and would encourage cooperative teamwork. Alright, normally I'm all about adding in more things into the game that's going to facilitate teamwork. I'm all about trying to get people to work together in Battlefield, but I'm gonna have to go with a big no on this. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be to fight against a team that has designated mortars in the back of the field, especially if you're playing on a game mode like Rush? I mean, on paper, yes, this sounds intriguing. 2 people are working together, they're doing a lot of damage against the enemy, they have to have that unit cohesion to be even able to do that, they have to work together, and you would assume that that larger blast radius and that larger damage would be the reward for that type of teamwork. But when we really look at it, is a lot of teamwork involved here. One guy is looking at the map, the other guy is reloading and firing the thing and just basically listening to his teammate on where he should fire, and that's about it. Can you imagine the death and destruction that would ensue with mortars doing even more damage and having a larger blast radius from the ones that we have right now? it sounds like a nightmare, at least in my eyes. I mean, I already despise the mortars that we have right now. I normally just despise anything that kills you around a corner. The XM25 airburst, the UCAV, the mortars, anything that takes you out where it's unexpected and you have no way of fighting it, because let's be honest, there's no way to fight a mortar unless you see it coming, which you're never going to, unless you're hiding in a building. There's no way to get around it, and adding in something that's just basically the big brother of that just doesn't sound like a fun game design. And so while once again, I love the idea of adding things into the game that facilitates teamwork, I love having that type of stuff in Battlefield, I just do not want something like this added into the game. That's just my 2 cents. The next question is, do you think that they will ever bring Counter-Strike Go to the consoles? The funny thing about this is that you can actually play Counter-Strike Go on your old gen consoles. No one ever plays it anymore. That's the big issue here, because it bombed on those systems. The question is now, though, did it bomb because it's just not meant to be a console game, because a controller just doesn't make sense for a game that requires an insane amount of precision, basically requiring a mouse and keyboard, or was it because of some other reasons? You have to remember that when Counter-Strike Go first released, it wasn't popular on any platform. Only until recently has it grown into the explosive popularity that it is now, but when it first launched, very few Counter-Strike veterans made the transition on over into CSGO. They made a lot of weird changes from Source or 1.6 on over into the new game. It just didn't feel right. A lot of veterans were not comfortable with the changes. To Valve's credit, they made the significant improvements. They were handsomely rewarded with it because now it's the largest first-person shooter ever. Like, the game is gigantic right now on PC. But the question that I have is, if it had that same support on console, would it be a little bit more popular? My gut is telling me no, because when we really get down to the root of the problem, the game just did not work on a console because you are using a controller. The game requires an incredible amount of precision. You need to get those headshots, and if you're just flopping around like a wet noodle with a controller, it's going to be difficult to do that. And so I think really at the heart of the issue, that's the reason why it failed, but also maybe because it just wasn't well received on any of the platforms. The thing is, though, is that if they did add this to the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, the only way that I could see it being remotely successful is if it did have mouse and keyboard supports. We've been hearing rumors every once in a while of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 having a mouse and keyboard in the future, and if that is the case and it works flawlessly, if the games function correctly with mouse and keyboard and it's exactly like what it is right now on PC, then that could be a great way of adding in even more people into the Counter-Strike community. I can't see that a bad thing. At the end of the day, those are computers. They're gaming computers, and while sure they can't have the most intensive graphics that you can get with a 980 Ti graphics card in one of the most impressive PCs out there, let's be honest, Counter-Strike Go isn't the most graphic intensive game out there. I have no reason to believe why the Xbox One or PlayStation 4 would have any problem running Counter-Strike Go, and so if they were able to add in mouse and keyboard support, I could see this actually happening and being an amazing experience for console gamers. Will it ever happen? Really hard to say at this point. Will Valve ever do this? Also hard to say at this point, but I think that is the only way that it would ever be able to join the console community and be well received. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.